New tonight, we're getting a closer look at a significant uptick in service calls near the Johnson Street shelter in Missoula last year. NBC Montana's Jacob Owens lays out the latest numbers.
Since reopening last fall, the Johnson Street shelter has served at least 480 people. However, calls for service in the area spiked. The data comes from calls to the Missoula Police Department within a 1,000-foot radius of the shelter. Police Chief Michael Collier provided City Council with data for calls ranging from June 14th of 2023 to September 13th. During this time, before the shelter reopened, there were 104 calls for service. One of the highest frequency of calls was for suspicious activity. The shelter reopened mid-September. From that time through December 14th, the police department conducted 803 directed patrols. During this time, there were more than 3 times the calls for service at 352. Among the most common calls were for theft, a person needing assistance, and the need for a person to be removed. Collier links these high-frequency calls to the Johnson Street facility.
Although I can't say that every one of those was directly related to shelter, my theory would be that most of those probably are.
However, Collier made clear that calls for service in the area happen whether the shelter is open or not.
It's important to remember that not all of these calls are generated due to the presence of the shelter or any of the guests that stay at the shelter. There's a lot of calls that we capture that have nothing to do with the shelter. Those calls would have occurred had the shelter been there or not. So.
I'll continue to keep you updated with Johnson Street and the surrounding area. Reporting in Missoula, Jacob Owens, NBC, Montana.